So, a pleasant afternoon, everyone. I think it's good and really very nice to have every one of us here. To have every one of us here, we're live, and then today we're going to be attending to a very interesting topic by a very interesting veterinarian. So, I want to welcome every one of us to today's master class. It has almost always proven to be like a time where we share knowledge, where we learn, and where we interact and have the best of ideas thrown out in the public. So if you've not clicked on the subscribe button and you've not given us a thumb up, I think it will be a perfect time to do that. It's going to be like an hour, and we're going to be learning from the best of the best in the industry. Uh, Audience, I want to introduce our I wanted to say our headmaster, but headmistress for today's master class. She's somebody I've almost always admired. She's been very diligent. She's been a very diligent veterinarian, and of course, not really even minding her young age. Skills most often doesn't respect age; it respects practice. And then, oftentimes, I see her handling surgeries. I see her handling really very complex cases, and then it's astonishing. Dr. Amina Ndanusa, it's a brilliant veterinarian. So let's welcome her on board, Dr. Amina. Good to have you. Okay, so I think you need to unmute yourself. We can hear you.
Me now?
All right, we can hear you. Good afternoon. We're in Nigeria, so we have a diverse audience. Some are in the morning, some are in the evening, some are just in the afternoon. But again, we want to welcome you to Farmalat's Masterclass. Thank you for availing your time to us to share what you have to share today.
Thank
You want
you
to say
very
something
much.
to our teaming audience?
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. It's an honor to be here. Like Dr. Kaide has earlier mentioned, my name is Dr. Amina Ndanusa. I work as a small animal practitioner in one of the leading veterinary clinics in Abuja,
Abuja,
Nigeria, Blueblood Vet
exactly.
Limited. Yes. Thank you so much. Today we'll be discussing a topic that's pretty important, and I'd like you all to just pay attention. Thank you.
All right, so she has let the cat out of the bag, so we'll just go straight into it. We're going to be discussing microchipping, animal traceability, animal identification. We are slightly behind in Africa, but with people like Dr. Amina, I think we're getting it a lot right. So today we're going to be exposing to you. She's a master in this, and we might most likely demonstrate to you also what you need to do with the live animal. So we're adding a lot of spices to today's broadcast. So Dr. Amina, you want to tell us a little about microchipping, why it's important, and then how we can go about it. Go ahead. I could
Yes.
enable you share your screen now. So, okay, go ahead.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you so much. Like I said earlier on, we're going to be talking about microchipping in animals, with focus on small animal, dogs and cats. Microchipping today has become very, very important for us for purposes of identification, disease control, and what have you. Today in the world, like we all know, the world is becoming a global village, and a lot of information are being passed around. How best can we store this information? Microchipping is one way, and on today's class, we'll be discussing elaborately on how microchipping can go a long way in identification of pet animals. So, would you want me to go ahead, Dr. Kayode?
So you have the next 15 minutes before we go into some interaction. So go ahead with your slide. Once
Okay.
you're done, then I could bring up some questions for you to attend to. Go ahead.
Okay, all right then. So I'll start with the most important question. What is a microchip? A lot of people have misunderstanding about what really a microchip is. So I'll just give us a brief explanation as to what a microchip is. Basically, a microchip is an implant that is used for identification. It's an integrated circuit that is placed under the skin of an animal, pretty much about the size of a rice, a grain of rice. And what it does is it uses passive radio frequency identification technology. I'll come back to this and why it's very important. It contains three major components: a microchip, what it has a chip or an integrated circuit. Now, this is just the main element of a microchip because that's where all information is being encoded in. Next, it has a coil inductor. The coil inductor is the one that transmits the information, whatever information is coded in this chip. The coil inductor transmits this information to the scanner. And then you have the capacitor, which works to power the coil inductor. Now, the microchip itself, the chip, the integrated circuit, coil inductor, and capacitor are all enclosed in a biocompatible glass cylinder. Why do you put it in a biocompatible glass cylinder? Of course, it's going into live tissue, it's going into an animal. So you need to use a material that is compatible with the body of the pet. So basically, this is just what a microchip is. The image you have here is that of a microchip. I don't know if you can see my mouse. This here is how it comes. It's just like your basic syringe. You have the plunger, you have the handle, and then you have the bevel. The chip comes with a lock. And I always say this is very important because you don't want a situation whereby in the process of trying to microchip an animal, you mistakenly inject someone else or something. You don't want that kind of thing. So there's always a lock until the point when you're about to insert your microchip, then you take out the lock. You also have the scanner. This is a typical scanner, an FDX-B scanner. In the past or initially when microchip was being introduced, what we had was the FDX-A scanner. But now technology is advancing and there's been a lot of upgrading. Now they use the FDX-B scanner, which is more advanced and has a higher radio frequency. Now I'll go to why microchipping is important. I had earlier mentioned that it's used for identification purposes. All information pertaining to that pet can be encoded on that microchip, and anyone who scans and gets the number can always can always go and check on the internet for that information once you have the access code. Now, not everybody can just have this microchip number and go and access it. No, you have to have the permission and access to that information before you can gain an entrance into the sites. It's also used for documentation purpose. If you can see here on the with the image on to my right, this is the recent picture of our export certificate out of Nigeria. I brought this up because of this, which is circled in red here. You can see identification number. You would not be allowed to move a pet into Nigeria or out of Nigeria without that pet being fully identified. We recently had a case, I think about 2 months ago, where this pet traveled out of the country to the UK. And on arriving there, I don't know that I think there was some sort of mix up. Maybe the owner, something went wrong with the pet book, and I think the owner left it or something. I wasn't too sure. So what they did right from UK, they communicated us. They sent an email to us because we were the ones who processed the permit, and they sent the details with the microchip number, asking for information of that pet. And immediately we got the microchip number. We just went through our records, fished out the information of the pet and sent it over to the owner. So it made life a lot easier. If that identification number wasn't there, of course, we all know that it's going to be a cumbersome process identifying the details of the pets. And then international pet travels, there are a lot of countries that would not even let you step into their boundary without your pet being properly microchipped. Disease control, research, food safety. I remember on the issue of disease control in US at 2010 or so, microchipping was one of the tools that was used to identify pets that had been vaccinated against equine influenza. So that's one major, another major angle where microchipping can be used for something very important. research purposes. I know a lot of people are just familiar with microchipping being used for research because we see a lot of it on Nat Geo Wild and what have you, where they catch these fishes, they microchip them, and then they monitor their movement through life, even wild birds, wildlife, and what have you. Microchipping is one area that is very, very crucial to research. Food safety, again, the same thing. You microchip your food animals. Why are you doing this? You want to trace where this animal is coming from. Every food that is coming on your table, you want to have an idea of where this is coming from. You want to know the details of this animal, where it has been, what it has received over time. In the case of an outbreak, maybe food poisoning or what have you can always trace it back to the farm where this animal is coming. So microchipping is something that cannot be overstated. It cannot the importance of microchipping cannot be said enough. Then we would move to placing a microchip implant. I know Dr. Kayode already mentioned that, but for different animals, it's placed differently. For our regular dogs and cats, we do that under the skin subcutaneously. The chip is usually inserted at the left hand side. That is what is internationally acceptable. I've actually never seen a pet coming to my clinic with the chip on the right. I don't know if some people do that, but internationally, it should be on the left hand side under the skin. For birds, they usually place it at the left pectoral muscle. That's the recommended site for most birds, including wild birds and domesticated birds. For horses, we place the microchip at just a little bit below the nuchal ligament. A lot of us are familiar with what that is. Lizards, like I said, wild animals are being microchipped for research. They use a lot of lizards and what have you. So this is also implanted into the left body side, just in front of the hind limb. That's when you're dealing with large animals. For large lizards. For smaller lizards, it's done in the abdominal cavity, the coelomic cavity to be specific. Then when placing a microchip, of course, like I said, it comes like a syringe, like your basic syringe, except it's a little bit bigger than the normal syringes which we use every day. Now, it's very important that it is done in a sterile manner. This is why we always advocate that microchipping should be done by people who are registered and who have the capacity to do this. You're a registered veterinarian because you must always ensure sterility. You don't want a situation whereby trying to place something as simple as a microchip, you introduce an organism into the pet. Of course, the owner would not find that funny. You yourself would not be happy with doing that. So a sterile application technique is always recommended when inserting, when trying to carry out microchipping technique. Prior to implantation, you swab, make sure you clean the sites. This is going a bit more technical for people in the house who might not understand this. It's just making sure that the area is sterile before you introduce your needle. And then once you do this, there's a school of thought that says apply manual pressure. The reason why you're doing this is just to ensure that the chip is in place and then also to prevent any slight bleeding. Like I said, the needle is slightly bigger than the normal syringes which we have, so bleeding is expected once in a while. But if you do it properly, you don't actually encounter any of that challenge. Now, where can you microchip your animal? Like I mentioned earlier, a lot of countries we have today would insist that you microchip your pets before you come into the country. It's on the slide here. You can see a news feed from the government of UK. This is as far back as 2016, where they stated that it's compulsory that your dog be microchipped within the UK. And I'm sure there's a penalty for anyone who doesn't microchip their pets. You know how strict they are with uncontrolled movement of pets and all of that because they want to control diseases like rabies. So even in the US, this is one of the things that have been advocated for. Any stray animal that is seen that doesn't have a microchip, immediately they put them down or take them to shelter homes where they're immediately microchipped. So microchipping, like I said earlier on, can be done in a clinic. by registered veterinarians. In the cases of wildlife, of course, you don't expect to move a gorilla to your clinic. So you take the veterinarian goes to their natural habitat, and this is done under proper restraint. It's very important that the animal be restrained properly. That's one of the most important steps for microchipping. You don't want a situation whereby just trying to do as simple as it may sound, microchipping, you get injured. We all know how horses can also be dangerous, cattle, what have you. So it's very, very important that proper restraint be done. And that's why you must always advocate that a registered veterinarian carry out this procedure. For large animals such as horses, cattle, it can be done either in the stable or on their farms. Again, you don't expect to move a large horse to your clinic. It doesn't make any sense. So the veterinarian can go to the stable prepared with all your equipment. You be sterile, gloves, whatever it is you need, antiseptic wash, whatever. Take it to the stable and microchip this animal as needs be. Um, Lastly, I'll just this are what some of the places where microchipping can be done. There are a lot of clinics in Nigeria today where microchipping is done. Abuja, Lagos, where are you? Blueblood Veterinary Clinic is one of the clinics here in Abuja where microchipping is done. Dr. Kayode Farm Alert is also very familiar with microchipping, and we can always discuss more on this as the presentation goes further. So, yeah, thank you. I hope I stayed within the time, Dr. Kayode.
Yes, so that was brilliantly done, Dr. Amina. And so let's move down to the details, Doc. Why do you
Yeah, sure.
think we have I can't really say, for those of us listening, do we know the number of dogs and cats we have in Nigeria? Do, maybe probably in the tens of millions, right? But I'm not sure if
Yes.
microchipping it's a popular topic among dog owners. Why do you think so? Why do you think most dog owners are not microchipping their pets?
First of all, I think the awareness isn't really there. A lot of them, when they hear about it, they're usually interested in it. But I think generally there's not that much awareness going on among pet owners on the importance of microchipping. Another thing might be cultural. A lot of people attribute so many negative things to microchipping, and I don't really understand why.
Like what negative thing? Maybe probably you're practicing witchcrafting.
Exactly, exactly. Some people will even say that once they microchip you, they can trace wherever, blah blah blah, and all of that. And the microchip doesn't do that. I remember in the first slide I mentioned passive radio 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 frequency. Passive. It's not an active radio frequency. This microchip is only activated at the point where the scanner is used to frisk the body. So there's no satellite or whatever that will just take the microchip and activate it on your body or what have you. No, it makes use of passive radio frequency, and I think those are part of the things that should be made and repeated over and over again so that people can understand that this thing is not harmful. It doesn't cause any harm to your pets or what have you. It's just for identification purpose.
So, Doc, do you think we need to increase the awareness of so
Yeah,
how can we even really increase, because I think we are still really very down the ladder in terms of
sure.
microchipping in Nigeria, and I think it's a lot of opportunities for animal health practitioner in Nigeria, because
Exactly,
if
exactly.
all animals or all dogs and cats can be identified, that's a huge opportunity. So
That's a really
what do you think we need to do to our awareness campaign as vets?
Well, I think it's something the veterinary council can take on. It's an aspect that I think with massive campaigns, both by private and government veterinarians, it will go a long way. Another way which we can use to identify this is by encouraging that some of these laws be passed. Like I showed in one of the slides earlier on, UK government made it compulsory. So you can't even own a pet without making sure that that pet is microchipped. That's another way whereby we can advocate for pet microchipping in the country. So I think it's one thing that the veterinary council can really look into.
I also think the awareness among us veterinarians or the entire animal health professional community will be a good thing. Like
Exactly.
somebody is asking in the chat board, let me try and bring up some of these comments for us to see. Somebody is saying that a question: how can one purchase the microchip? Is there a farm in Nigeria? So again, and I know that's something you've handled and you can easily handle. Go ahead.
Yes. So currently we make use of the MTN AIMS RFID microchip. Now there are selected distributors across Nigeria, one of which livestock management services is one of. We cover North Central. Our details are online. We can also share the details with you. Once you need this microchip, we can always ship it to you and send it to you. There are other accredited distributors across Nigeria. We have in the Northwest, we have in the South region, and what have you. And then even you yourself, Farm Alert, you're also one
Yeah,
person
yes, so
who has access to the microchip.
we just Dr.
And
Amina just gave
more-
us the distributorship of microchips, so we can send it
so it's
nationwide.
yes,
Even the
and then
part that you are covering. Go ahead.
exactly. And then even if you walk into a veterinary clinic, most veterinary hospitals do have microchip and can also link you to place distributors, accredited distributors, where you can get this microchip from.
Mm, I think for all veterinarians listening, all animal health professionals, you can invariably get in touch with Blue Blood for to get your wholesale microchip. I also negotiate with them so that they also give me at wholesale. Then I can wholesale across the entire Nigeria. Thank you so much, Dr. Amina, for this very kind gesture to Farmalat. I want to ask you again, so this microchip, when you put it in this animal, does it irritate them? So before you answer that question, if you've not subscribed to our YouTube channel, I think this is a very good time to hit on the subscription button. And if you've not given Dr. Amina yet a thumb up for sharing this all unique opportunity for you to buy your microchip at a wholesale price, I think this is the time. We need your thumb up. Click on the thumb up button. Tell us that you are okay and you feel the benefit of the information we are sharing, and let's keep the conversation going. So when you microchip, does it irritate the animals?
So, in my experience, most animals don't get a reaction to microchip. However, like with every substance on earth, there's going to be that 1% or 0.0 something percent that would react. Even with water, I recently found out that there are some people who are allergic to water. So it's exactly. So it's normal for you to have some. Most animals don't react. I've never had a case where an animal reacted to microchipping, but I've seen some researches where it was done and certain percentage, a very little percentage, reacted. All of which was just managed with mild anti-allergies and just sometimes even just leaving it. Like with horses, some horses would react, but within 48 hours the swelling goes down and they're fine. So for most 95% of people do not react to microchipping. Yeah, we don't
All right,
experience any
all
adverse.
right. So that's nice. I want to bring up a question to the screen. So I'll just keep bringing the question to the screen so that you can attend to them. All right. Let's see. Okay. So can you see the question by Adakolo Abu? Is it advisable to microchip local dogs? That would be big business for us in Nigeria if we start microchipping local dogs. But my concern is that I hope our people will be able to pay for it. So go ahead, Dr. Amina. Is it advisable to microchip local dogs?
Yes, yes. Microchipping, knowing the importance of microchipping, like I said, identification purpose, disease control. Local dogs roam freely around in Nigeria. Microchipping is one way where you can get all their information online and they can be monitored. Any area where you have a disease outbreak, you can you know the animals within that area, you know their microchip numbers and what have you. It's easier to contain. So one, I would really advocate that local dogs be microchipped, because even when you get a dog, especially when you get a dog bite, you want to know that pet. When was the last time this pet received his vaccinations? You can get all this information from the microchip. So I would really advocate that microchipping be done for our local dogs. Really, yes.
You know, the last time we did like a mega campaign against rabies, right? I think we need to
Yes.
also start doing mega campaigns around microchipping of animals. I want to bring up another comment from Dr. Gani. I'm going to bring it up to the screen. Beautiful. He said, real. Coming just a moment. Let me remove this. Dr. Gani said, can you see that the cost of microchipping could be a factor discouraging pet owners? Is it that expensive?
Well, it to an extent, yes. But luckily, because of the partnership we had with MTN, they actually and for the purpose of they went into this for the purpose mainly for disease control, food safety, and what have you. So they were able to produce a large number of microchip at a subsidized rate. So the current MTN AIMS microchip, which we have, is at a subsidized rate, and I can assure you it's something most veterinarians can afford. They can really afford it. Yes.
All right, so I think I have an insight into the price.
Yes.
I have an insight into the price, and I can also say that please. So for the importance and for the worth, I think we should do that. But the price also is not very scary, right? If you contact Dr. Amina after this masterclass, I believe she will be able to share with you the cost of the microchip, and then you could go ahead and also add your own margin so that you can bill your client properly. But someone said, Sharifa
And
said,
again,
thank you for this brilliant. You want to say something? Go ahead.
yes, and again, I think the knowledge most people have about microchip is as far back as 5 years ago, 10 years ago, when it was just a new market coming into Africa. Of course, once things are coming in newly like that, the prices are always on the high side. But I can assure you now, it's really at a subsidized price, and it's something most people can afford.
I think it's important we stress that fact, right? For one
Yes.
simple reason. People don't, like, prior to this class, sometimes I get requests for microchip, to microchip a dog. I'm in Lagos, and I just tell the clinician, no, we don't do it. But I know there are vets that does it in Lagos. But with you now helping us to democratize this microchip, I think having it in every geopolitical zones, having the consciousness of vets arose to the fact that this thing is cheap and it's doable. I think it's a brilliant idea. I'm just going to be picking one. Okay, so people have quite a lot of praise for your class today. That it is nice, well done, lovely presentation, Dr. Amina, good one, Dr. Ndanusa. So you see.
Thank
This
you
is
so much.
nice. So I want to ask one more question. We're going to be doing a live demonstration. We
Okay.
will not be going down the details because, of course, we know this is a public channel and we want to ensure that informations are properly guided. But again, if you've not subscribed to our YouTube channel and you're watching, it's a perfect time to do that. Click on the subscription button so that more of this masterclass you can participate and enjoy in the knowledge sharing session. We bring in quality people, people with vast knowledge and skill in their own area of expertise, sharing with us how, why, and where to get something done. And today, of course, as you know, we're talking about microchipping in animals, dogs and cats, horses, and in our presentation, she mentioned lizard. Who on earth will want to microchip lizards?
Have you seen wildlife documentaries?
I'm not even sure if we should start thinking about that in Nigeria or in Africa. I think it's so well. it's good to know that it can be done. So if you've not subscribed, kindly do that. If you've not given us a thumb up and you're part of this class, I want you to hit on the thumb up button so that this video can rank and more veterinarians and health professionals can do that. So if one gets the microchip from you, does it expire?
So a microchip has an expiry date, but that is before you implant the microchip. The moment you've implanted the microchip, it's for life. So there's an expiry date before implantation into the animal. That is about 5 years. I think I've seen as much as 7 years. But once you implant that microchip before the expiry date, it's for life. It doesn't expire on the pet of the animal, nothing like that.
All right, so it's for life. I want to bring up a question to your screen by. Okay, just a moment.
Okay.
Okay, Olu Soji So Sanya. Can I ask if a pet with microchip die, can it be retrieved? Oh boy. Can it be retrieved and reused for another pet, or its usage is confined to one single pet and is not reusable? Olu
That's
Soji, I will allow
that's if
Dr.
you're even able to trace
Amina to answer you.
that's if you're able to even trace it. Because once you implant it, it's a part of it gets absorbed, and then just the tiny chip remains in the body. That's the active part. Every other part gets absorbed and what have you, and there's nothing. So you might not even be able to trace it. And then when you even trace it out, that's encoding information for one animal into another animal. That's unnecessary confusion. It's not even sterile. It's something that is really not even a topic that should be looked into. No, please, that you can't do that. No.
Dr. Amina, I believe if he hears the price of the microchip, you will not have to go
Exactly.
through the pain of dissecting a cadaver just to extract a very tiny thing that looks like the seed of a rice. How bet it's an interesting question, but please, the answer is no. Please, if you're still watching and you've not subscribed, please do that and give us a thumb. I want to bring up a thumb up appreciation. I want to bring up another question, Dr. Amina. I think this is also interesting. Okay, yes, Sherifat Balogun Raji. Can a microchip migrate within an animal? So I think that's a useful question.
Yes, that's a very important question. Actually, yes, it can. But most times when that is seen, it's when it's done improperly. If you don't, during the implantation process, if you don't do it properly, chances are that that microchip would migrate. But most at times, the migration is within less than 5 centimeter around the initial point of implantation. So once you scan around that area, you'll definitely see the microchip there. And again, like I said, that's when it wasn't properly done with implantation. You don't expect I've never seen a case whereby the microchip would migrate to the right hand side or something. It's always within about 5 centimeter of the original position.
Mm. All right, so I think that that's a very good answer. It
Very
can't, but if it's properly done, it shouldn't. Somebody jokingly said, I don't know whether I should bring this up to the screen, that Olusoji, that is veterinary economics. so, so there are some economics that are upside down. Trust me, Ezekiel Ali Udu, this your economics is upside down. It's
because
cheaper.
the cost you spend dissecting that animal is way more
Exactly.
than buying a new microchip.
Exactly. So kindly contact us. We can do you even a very good discount. So please, Dr. Latunji Nasir is saying hi from Lagos. I think it's also very nice to also let us know where you're watching from. If you are on this channel, watching this all interesting topic, microchipping in dogs and cats and horses, and then in birds too. And if you listen to Dr. Amina's initial lecture, she said also in lizard. but I want us to keep that by the side so that we don't go lizard hunting yet. So, Dr. Amina, I'm just going to bring up one more question. Then we can go in and probably do a small demonstration.
Sure.
But you can keep your questions coming. Keep your questions coming. Dr. Amina is here. The demonstration will just take us about a few minutes and then we're done. So,
Okay.
now, Ezekiel, let me be sure that we can see the question properly. Do the efficacy of microchip decline with time in the body of the animal? I think it's an interesting question.
Yes, that's also a very interesting question.
Mm,
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Like I said, if you make use of good quality microchip and your implantation process is done correctly, for as long as you frisk that animal, you always get the information you need from that animal. I've never seen a situation whereby efficacy or whatever decreases with time. No, not at all. Once you do everything right, like I said, no migration, what have you use good quality microchips, trust me, nothing like decline or whatever in efficacy. No, you don't get that.
okay, so I want to ask a question that I'm not sure if I've seen here.
Okay.
So now, when you microchip an animal, my understanding is that there are informations about the animal that are on the chip, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if, let's say, Dr. Amina microchip in LMS in Abuja, and the dog travels to Lagos, and I have a microchip scanner, can I read the information on the microchip,
This
and
is a
then
very, very good question.
after you've, okay, so there's a follow-up question, but please go ahead with that question.
Okay, so now microchips are produced by different companies. We all know that. Now, every company that is into the business of production of microchip has a website. There's an official website for that microchip. Once you microchip an animal, the veterinarian, it doesn't just end at microchipping that animal. The veterinarian goes to that site and registers that animal has been microchipped. It puts the information of that animal on the website. Now, even if you change you, and then there's a login detail that is also given to the client, the owner. Only the owner has that information, and then on the back end, the veterinarian who did that also has that information. Now, in the event that the client moves, like you said, to maybe Lagos or even travels out, like the client has access to the website, the client can log on to his page and change it there and indicate that, okay, location of my pet has changed, the veterinarian for my pet has changed. All of this information will be updated, and then whoever the new veterinarian is can have access to that, being that, okay, the owner can give access to the veterinarian saying, this is the veterinarian now that is handling my pet and can have access to the information of my pets. So that veterinarian now having that access can always go online and update the information of this pets. The whole essence of microchipping is not just to microchip and then say, okay, I've microchipped my pet. No, you have to constantly update the information. Oh, this pet was vaccinated so day. You update it. The veterinarian should do that. It's the work of the veterinarian actually. The client can also help once in a while and say, okay, my pet was vaccinated against this on so day, and help upload that information. That's how you get current and up-to-date information uploaded for your pets. So all of these technicalities about moving, changing, no, you can always update it yourself. It's open to everybody. And then even when you travel out, once part of the information that is given on the pet book is the type and make of the microchip. Why are they asking for this? In the event that this pet travels out and they scan, they want to know what kind of microchip, so they know what website to go to and check for this animal. That's why they always ask for the type of microchip and the manufacturer of the microchip. It's a
All
very
right,
good
so
question.
I think that's it's good I asked this question, and it was also brilliantly answered by you. So you know that all information pertaining to the pet that is microchip is on the microchip. The owner have control of the microchip. The owner can go to the back end, update the information of his or her pet, and then also state that I've changed the veterinarian. So I want to ask a
Yes.
follow-up question. Can you, if you probably perform a particular procedure on the particular pet, how can you impute that information and give access to the microchip to read the information when next anybody wants to have access to the pet history?
Yes, like I said, the page of the vet is separate, the page of the owner is separate. For the one I'm familiar with, which is the MTN microchip, there's a section where you can update medical records for the pets. So you can always go there and state everything that he had a surgery, so the type of surgery that was done. All of this is on that back page. You can always go there, update it, and state that yes, this has been done. Now, cases like surgical procedures, whatever, the owner doesn't have that access on her own or his or her own page. This kind of more technical information are on the veterinarian's page. So it's up to the veterinarians to update technical informations like surgery and what have you that have been done on the pets.
And I think having this, we will eventually come up with a with like a masterpiece database of the history of a pet.
Yes.
I think we should encourage every veterinarian to do this. People have been asking for cost,
Yes.
cost, 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 cost. Like we should have an idea. We should
Nigerians
have
have
an idea.
money.
Hey,
Nigerians have money.
we've told you already that these things are not expensive. This video is on
Exactly.
YouTube. We don't want to shoot you on the feed because your client will now pick up this video in the future and say, we said it. Eh?
Exactly.
For us, the price is standard. Nobody is going to exaggerate the price. But of course,
Yes.
you know that based on your practice area, you have the ability to adjust and your services, input your services, etc., and build a client. So we want to encourage you to please contact Dr. Amina, and then now that she has given me the power, you can also contact me too. I have a very direct contact to her if you want to purchase your microchip. I will be glad that after this masterclass, we see a huge surge in the sales of microchip, right? You could ask for 10 to start with, you could ask for 20 to start with. In fact, I'm making a commitment. Reach out to us, right? Wherever you are in Nigeria, we are going to be sending those microchips across. Because I think if we popularize the idea of this microchip, eventually what we will do in another 1-2 years will be massive. The amount of data we will have pertaining to various pets will be something we can use at the end of the day and make meaning out of it. I want to ask you, so there are two questions, right? Let's bring up Dr. Gani made mention of something. He said, let me, just a moment. An American once brought a cage male Agama female for export permit. No lizard found in his tail back home, as most do, was microchipping. Some crazy demands exist. All right. So
Exactly.
I give up. I give
Exactly.
up. I didn't want to prioritize the issue of having a lizard microchip. But if an elder statesman has said that somebody wants his Agama lizard microchip,
Mhm.
all the best. Dr. Amina, that one you will
Yeah.
handle specifically the microchipping of that order.
No problem. I would love to do that.
I will only do the one for cattle and dogs. Is that fine?
And dogs.
All right, so let me bring up another comment. Olubenga Kuforiji said, can one chip scanner scan all chips irrespective of the source? I think it's an interesting question.
Yes, it's an interesting question. So, at some point during the presentation, I did mention that there's an FDX-A and FDX-B type of microchip. Initially, when the world was just getting familiar with microchipping, what was being produced was the FDX-A type of microchip. But now the world has advanced and they're producing FDX-B type of microchip. They phased out the FDX-A microchip. I guess it has some limitations. Now we have these two types of scanners, FDX-B and FDX-A. FDX-A, because it's an outdated scanner, it was produced very early on, it can't actually scan the recent type of microchips that are being produced now, which is the FDX-B type of microchip. But the good thing is FDXB scanners can actually scan and identify both the old type and new type of microchips. So when you're purchasing a microchip scanner, ensure that you get the FDXB type, because this is the most recent type and it can scan for all type of microchips as well as the new ones we have right now. That's a very important question. Always ensure that you purchase FDXB type of scanners.
All right, so you see, we have the master piece from the master headmistress. Let's take the last question before the demonstration.
Okay.
Uh, okay, so Oyeleke Yinka, nice lecture, Dr. Amina. Of course, we know it's nice. Thank you for acknowledging that. Please, in an event that there's an accident or trauma around the location where the microchip is implanted, is it possible that it gets damaged?
Yes. First of all, Oyele Yinka is my classmate and a very close friend of mine. So I trust him to answer a very
Oh,
difficult question.
nice.
Yes, actually it can. It's like I said, you implant this microchip, it's embedded in a tissue. So it's only logical that when this tissue gets, we see some very crazy kind of accidents where the tissue can get macerated, torn off, or whatever. If that is the point where this microchip is, believe you me, you will lose that microchip. But one way to be sure is that you scan, always scan to be sure that there's no microchip implanted there. Once you scan and you don't, the scanner doesn't pick up anything, definitely that microchip has been destroyed alongside the tissue. If you have a situation whereby the tissue gets macerated or torn off or what have you, so there are some crazy road traffic accidents where there's sloughing off of major parts of the tissues. So if the microchip is contained within that part, definitely it can get damaged. But one way to be very sure is to scan. Always ensure that you scan to be sure that the microchip is no longer there. Like I said, it's very tiny. The microchip is really very tiny. Sometimes you might not even see it with your naked eye, but make sure you scan to be sure that, okay, this microchip is no longer here.
All right. Nice, Dr. Amina. Thank you so much for this masterpiece. If you've not subscribed to our YouTube channel, it's a good time to do that. Actually, a perfect time to do that. If you've
Yeah.
not given Dr. Amina a thumb up and you like what you're hearing, please go ahead, give a thumb up, state your comment on the comment box, and then let's know that you appreciate this brilliant class from a brilliant vet, and then, of course, the pride of us all. Now we will go into the demonstration. So, Dr. Amina, what you want to show us is a microchip scanner. I would not say you should do the exact inserting of the microchip, but at least let's see the microchip, let's see the scanner, and then let's have a little idea of how you will attend to a pet once you have a situations like that. So, how do we go about that? Do we have the other person calling in so that we can switch camera?
Yes, there's someone else calling in, and then he can move about with the
Okay,
camera.
so once I see his call, I'm able to bring him up, and then we will get it going. Lukman Mukhtar said, "Well done, Dr. Amina. You are too much."
Thank you so much, Dr. Lukman, my Oga.
Uh,
Oga.
Kwaga Asundawa Tabwa. Well done, Dr. Amina.
Thank you so
This
much.
is
Thank you.
heartwarming. So we're waiting for the top camera to be on so that we can demonstrate. Or maybe another thing we could do is that they could bring the scanner and the microchip to you. Can you get somebody to bring the microchip? So that would be easier. Then we don't have to bring in the third camera. So it's important. We want to make this master class as practical as possible. We're improving by the day, so that you will not, somebody will not sell a 20 naira syringe to you as a microchip.
As a microchip.
And then, of course, somebody will not sell something else. You know, she was mentioning the type of scanners you need to get. She could also show us the scanners they have and what to check out for when you want to identify a particular scanner that you will get. Do we have both devices now?
Okay, it's almost here. Just a
Okay, all
minute.
right. So it's almost there. So, but you can keep your comments coming keep the thumb up going. If you've not, some people have not given us the thumb up. Kindly do that. Just a click on the thumb up button, not the thumb down. If you give the thumb down, then you make us sad. But the thumb up button, and then if you've of course not subscribed, ensure you click on the subscription button so that we can, so that when more videos like this come up, you can have access to these master classes. More importantly, you will be able to share this video among veterinarians and colleagues who really don't have an idea on what microchipping is. Then we can keep the message growing and growing stronger as we proceed. Yeah, I can see some thumb ups coming. Thank you. So, Dr. Amina,
Okay.
show us the
So
microchip, because this is the final thing we'll do. Show us the microchip and then the microchip scanner.
I don't know how well you
Yes,
can
we can
see it.
see that. We can
Okay.
see that.
So like I said earlier, you can see this red line here. That's the lock.
All right.
So right before you microchip, you have to take out the lock. Otherwise, the plunger won't go into the animal. So you always ensure that you take away this lock from the microchip. And then this is the bevel. This is the part that actually goes into the animal. The microchip, again, like I said, comes sterile. As you can see, it's completely sealed. No part of it is opened. So right before you microchip is when you open it and then you insert it into the animal after taking away the lock. And then one other part I actually didn't mention, this is the scanner. You have the scanner here. Now, most scanners of today come with a USB cord. Now, what you can do is you can actually connect this USB cord to the scanner and connect it to your system. You can do that and download all information that this scanner has scanned throughout its entire life. So you can always transfer information from your scanner. Now, aside the online
Backup.
sites that you, yes, backup, you can always transfer whatever information from the scanner to a computer, your personal computer, what have you, using the USB scanner. And you asked a question about FDXB and whatever. This is the pack. Every scanner you purchase comes in a pack, and it's always clearly written on the pack. I don't know how clear this would be for the camera, but it's indicated the FDXB. I don't know how, but you,
FDX. Okay, so we can see, but you said
you always
FD.
see FDXB.
Okay.
It's actually indicated here,
Oh, right,
FDXB. I'm not
right.
sure how, yeah. So it's always indicated the type of scanner you're buying. If that's not properly written, please don't buy that scanner. Ensure that you're buying an FDXB scanner, because if you buy the old model scanner, you won't be able to scan the most recent type of microchips that have been produced today. So always check the label of whatever scanner you're buying. It's always written there, FDXA or FDXB. And then this, like we said, is the scanner. You just click it on and then you frisk. You just frisk and scan. As simple as that.
Oh, so we have somebody from Blue Blood. Wait, let me put it up. But I don't know. You know, we're supposed to run a demonstration. Yes, we're supposed to
Yes,
run a
Mr.
demonstration.
Kovala,
Yes.
that's
So
that we do the demonstration.
what?
Very important.
And so we can we're supposed to do a
Yes.
demonstration and microchip. So, but what we were concerned about, because you know we had planned the demonstration part, what we're concerned about is that some non-vets will also pick up this video and then we start microchipping. So I've always said
Yes.
it's an exclusive right for all vets. But again, we could do a Zoom meeting where we will have this demonstrated, knowing that it's going to be a closed circuit. Dr. Amina, you've been phenomenal. Somebody is
Thank you so
suggesting that this kind of class should be also done at the convention. Let me put that suggestion up. He said, "I wish." Just a moment. I wish it can be a topic at MVMA convention. Is it possible for you to talk? Well, you have to pay us so that we can bring the consultant, the consultant or the professional in this on board for the MVMA convention, but that's on a lighter mode. I think is there any report? Okay, so more questions are coming. Let me just take
Okay.
this up. We're already past time, so I will need to just quickly round up. Is there any report or article on unsuccessful control and surveillance of diseases in microchip pets in animals? So here's what I would just say is that this is Nigeria has not even fully embraced the entire idea of microchip. Just a few
So,
vets, yes, just a few
yes.
vets is doing the micro. Go ahead, Dr. Amina.
I mentioned maybe Cletus is just joining the presentation. I did mention that in the US, it was used successfully to know the amount of pets that have been vaccinated against equine influenza. And we know that equine influenza is a really it's a very serious disease both in Africa here and abroad. So that's one article which I came across where microchipping was used. But in Nigeria here, I'm not too sure if there's been any article or research done where microchip was used, but I can assure you outside the country, it has been tested and trusted. Use of microchipping was very crucial for vaccinations of pets against equine influenza anemia.
And it's something anybody can pick up because once we start promoting this idea, right? Once the ideas
Okay.
are out, more veterinarians pick it up, more it becomes something really very nice. Then we can have a pool of the database and have it shared in a meaningful manner that we can work on those data and make informed decision. Dr. Amina, we want to thank you
Exactly.
so much for this masterpiece.
Thank you.
I also
Thank you.
know that big things come in small packages. You've delivered brilliantly well. And I
Thank you
believe
so
more
much.
veterinarians, more the awareness of this whole microchipping, it's really improved among veterinarians, right?
Yeah,
So what we
sure,
want you to
sure.
do as a vet is that you need to contact Blueblood. They are the national distributor of this microchip, right? And they've subcontracted it also to us. So you can also contact us. And I know the likes of Pet Care in Lagos does that. I know the likes of Truth Miles in
It's miles.
Lagos also does an extensive work on this microchipping of dogs. We need to make it
Yes.
a national campaign. We need to be on it. Dr. Amina has just lit the fire. We need to carry it on. And I also agree with the person suggesting that we can do it in the MVMA convention because these are cutting edge technology. We can't keep jabbing without history
Having
or a data
exactly
flow.
without free data, the world is going. I told you, going to a global village right now, and data is more than ever. Is become very important.
Exactly.
Data. One way we can always ensure updated data is through microchipping.
So we confer on you in the animal health body the ambassador for microchipping. I think
Microchipping.
I think so it's not so I'm not sure if I can I think I can sense that some people are clapping. So we will do a very good banner. We will make you the ambassador of microchipping in animals. Thank you so very much, Dr. Amina. It was really
Thank
very
you so much
interesting,
for
very nice
having me.
talking with you. And then you've also offered us very useful insight. More importantly, you've set up, I would not want to call it now a revolution, but the seed for something that can blossom into something that can make us more data driven, a more of
Yeah,
a data
sure.
driven society. And it's our commitment in Farmalab to keep the light shining on this microchipping and ensure that more people buy into this and we have it explode across all veterinary clinics in Nigeria. So I want to thank everyone listening. Thank you for sparing your 45 1 hour, 45 to 60 minutes with us and me and Dr. Amina. We hope you do enjoy what you've heard. If you have, the video will be available right after this live session. You can pick it up and share on veterinary groups. Let more vet participate. Let them watch. Let them subscribe on our YouTube channel because we have more and more interesting master class coming up in subsequent classes. More importantly, for every video you see and you watch, give us a thumb up button if you like any information there. from the entire team and on behalf of me and myself, Dr. Amina, thank you. Wish you
Thank you
a
so
very
much.
good afternoon. Thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful
Thank
afternoon.
you. Have a wonderful day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.